So if you go on Amazon and you type in, for example, morning routine books, you will get over 1,000 different books to actually buy and purchase today. Now, I don't know about you guys, okay, but I'm not gonna read 1,000 books. And I realized a long time ago, after I did read a lot of books on morning routines and actually tried a lot of different ones out there, I realized that I was spending my mornings the exact same way I spent my paycheck when I was basically broke. And you might say, Tommy, how is that possible? The answer was, whenever I got paid, I grabbed my money, I paid all my bills, I paid everybody else, and then if I had money left over, I would try to invest. Guess what? I never had money left over. I was doing the exact same thing with my mornings, which is basically, I woke up at the exact precise time in order to get to work on time. And now today what I do is, when I get paid, the first thing I do is invest. When I wake up, the first thing I do is work on myself. And then I worry about working on somebody else's dream and somebody else's goal. That's what I've learned about a morning routine that actually makes sense and actually works. Now overall, I also realized by trying out different routines over and over again, this video is titled the 5 a.m. club, but at a certain point, I was a part of the 2 a.m. club, the 3 a.m. club, and even the 4 a.m. club. And I figured out that basically the best morning routine is going to be the one you can sustain for a lifetime. And once I realized that was also BS. And here's why. Because as you mature in life is going to get different. Routines are going to change. So what you want is not this rigid thing you have to do, but what you want is something that accomplishes your goals for the day and also has flexibility for certain distractions that are actually welcomed. If I have family over, I'm welcoming that distraction. If I have to do something else with my friends, I welcome the distraction, okay? But overall, it's not some rigid plan that gets you from point A to point B. It's not that. It's something that works best for you. So the only way to figure that out is to experiment. So this video is not me telling you, hey, when you wake up, the first thing you want to do is spend 2 minutes exactly brushing your teeth and then you follow it up with a 30-second wash. The answer is no. Okay, that's not what it is. I'm going to tell you what I focus on during my day. Take some good ideas, leave the ones you don't like, and start practicing and trying out what routine works best for you. And remember, the goal is to use one that makes the most sense. You hear about the billionaires waking up at 7 a.m., people waking up at 2 a.m. The answer is you wake up at the time you can take advantage of the most hours, okay? And I don't believe in morning people and night people. I believe in people that get work done no matter what, okay? That's what I've learned. And habits are a lot stronger than just, for example, I work better at night. I don't really do that stuff, okay? Now, here's the first thing, guys, okay? Like this video and top out. Also, subscribe and hit the bell so you get notified. Now, with the first part of my day, I learned that for me, what works best is doing the hardest possible, most important task. And for me, that's always going to be exercise. That's the most important thing ever, because the machine that you have, which is basically your body, it needs to be worked out. It needs to be exercised. You need to use it. And obviously, I've noticed certain benefits. And by the way, my routine is very simple. First thing I do when I wake up is I do a little 1-minute prayer. I read the Bible for like 10, 15 minutes, and then I head out for a 60-minute run. And usually 3 times out of the week, I also follow it up with some strength training at the gym. I work out 8 times a week. And I have one full rest day, which is basically Saturday. But I work out, for example, runs 5 times a week, go to the gym 3 times a week. Now, do you need to do this? The answer is no. Did I start like this? The answer is no. But for me right now, today, it's what works best for me. It's the life I've chosen. It's what I like to do. Now, do I like it as if I'm like, can't wait to wake up and run like 6 miles? The answer is no. But I know it's what works out for me because it makes me a lot stronger. Now, overall, here are the 3 benefits I've noticed, okay? Obviously, exercise keeps you healthy. It's a good thing. It keeps, for example, all the sciencey stuff in control. I'm not gonna go into detail. Just look up what are the benefits of exercising in the morning and you will get a ton of different benefits. Number 2 is, I realized that doing hard things early in the morning makes the rest of your day feel like it's a lot easier. Number 3 is, the way you look says a lot about you. So when I was making a lot of money and I looked like I was basically like 215 pounds, which I basically was, it wasn't really a good representation of myself. And the way you look on the outside says a lot about you on the inside. You know, there's nothing sexy about being overweight. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's not something you actually like. It's not something you should be proud of. I'm just being honest. Okay, because I was also overweight, and you should just shoot to be the best version of yourself. Now, am I saying you have, for example, an 8-pack abs or whatever? The answer is no, just be healthier. That says a lot about you. And what you give to your body, you know, garbage in, garbage out. If you eat healthy, you get healthy results. All those things matter a lot. And I realized that from older folks that I know, one of the worst things is to spend your youth thinking that nothing's gonna happen, and then when you're older, a lot of stuff happens and now it's too late and you can't really fix it. So I'd rather spend an hour and a half per day making sure the future I can actually have a better chance of having, for example, a healthier life. So that's the first part of my day. Now, the second part of my day, guys, is going to surprise you because I'm not doing yoga, I'm not meditating, I'm not trying to attract something to me. I'm not doing any of that stuff, okay? What I do is I focus on the next part, which is usually for me, just work. And I've learned these 3 things from 3 different books, and I basically put them together and it works best for me. I'm gonna share them with you guys right now. The first thing is, when it comes to work, the first thing I learned is basically the 80-20 rule. I used to try to get a lot of stuff done, like I'm gonna answer emails, I'm going to edit my videos, I'm gonna do this and that. And I learned that the 80-20 rule says 80% of all the results you get come from 20% of the things you actually do. And that made sense in such a powerful way because basically said, Tommy, focus on the things that only you can do, and whatever else is left, you delegate to other people that can actually do it better. I'm good at editing, but Paul, the editor watching this video right now and editing it, is a lot better than me. I'm good at making thumbnails, but the guy that edits the thumbnails is a lot better than me also. So things that I don't have to do, I try to get them delegated, okay? So if I'm at work, a normal job, I'm going to focus on the task that gets me the most results, okay? That's the idea, because I get it, when you're at a job, you can't really delegate certain things, but the answer is you can focus on the most important tasks first, because usually they take the most brain power. Number 2, I learned this from another book. It's called Flow. And in Flow by Csikszentmihalyi, this guy talks about basically how you ever did something that you actually like play a game, and then hours pass by and it feels like it's been minutes. Well, you can actually get into that mindset when it comes to your work if your job that you actually do, the work, you're not distracted first of all by anything else, because every time you get distracted, it takes about 70 minutes to get back into flow. And flow is a state of mind that allows you to do your work and not even see or feel like a lot of time is passing by. Now, it's very important the tasks you're doing are not super above, for example, what you're actually capable of doing. Like if it's too hard, you can't get into flow. But if it's too easy, you can't get into flow. It has to be a little challenging, and you actually have to manage it and actually plan it, okay? So all this stuff is planned. It's not like, oh my gosh, it just happened. No, you plan it, and you kind of get into that zone. Number 3 is, I learned this from a book. It's called, for example, Deep Work by Carl something. I think Carl Newport. And this guy talks about, for example, when it comes to stopping procrastination, all these things, you really want to eliminate distractions. So usually when I have my phone next to me, I've gotten a lot better with it. But overall, usually I have it on airplane mode, or I just don't have it in the room. And instead of focusing on, for example, I want to get 16 hours of work in today or 8 hours, I focus on saying like, hey, I want to get 4 solid hours of just pure concentration on my task. Now, what works best for me is usually I can either do 30 minutes on of just pure work and then 5-minute break, or 60 minutes of pure work and usually like a 10-minute break. I usually do need a 10-minute break. And when I say a break, I don't mean this. 10 minutes later, I'm back to work. No, I mean you actually give your chance, like your body a chance to actually take a break, your brain. So I usually take, for example, a 10-minute nap. I go out, I just basically go for a little walk around my kitchen or whatever. I eat an apple, I just chill out for 10 minutes, and then I get back to work and I feel refreshed and like I'm ready to go. Now, 4 hours is usually the limit of focused work. It's very draining. It's like you think like just 4 hours, not a lot of work. No, when usually you're at work and you're doing like 8 hours of work, usually it's like odd tasks, you know, like answering emails. It's you like at the same time watching YouTube videos or like doing something else and like talking to your friends. No, it's just like pure focus, and that's why it takes on such a big toll. Those are 3 big ideas I learned from those 3 books, okay? And by the way, I don't start my work without a list of what I'm actually going to do, because lists, priority lists, help out a lot. So if I know exactly what I need to get done, that's exactly what's actually going to happen, all right? So that's the second part of my day. Now guys, for the third and fourth part, you don't have to stick around to the end of the video, honestly, because it's like that part is like the morning part, for example, the first part, the second part, but the third part usually happens after I'm done with work, and also the fourth part happens usually after like nighttime also, okay? So the third part is I try to really focus on love. Now, love to me is kind of like, for example, maintaining relationships that actually matter a lot to me. Now, where did I learn this from? The answer was I was very single-mindedly focused on just achieving my wealth goals and just money overall and get into this and that. But overall, I remember I watched this TED Talk and this guy was like, what's the secret to happiness? And I was like, what does this guy know about it? He was like, well, I did a 70-year study and I followed hundreds of people and here's what we learned. I was like, okay, I'm gonna listen to you, okay? And he said, at the core level, it's not about money, career, success, being famous, none of that stuff. It comes down to having healthy, safe relationships with people you actually care about. And that actually takes time to actually be mature enough to deal with people, to be mature enough to actually maintain those relationships, to make calls. So what I have is a list of the 20 most important people in my life, and I try to give them a call. I try to hang out with them. I try to spend time with them because those relationships are very important to me, and that's also a part of work. And it sounds kind of weird and not really organic to not really have like a plan for this stuff, but to me, I like doing things on purpose. I'm not really like a let's see what happens today. You know what I mean? Like I like having a purposeful life every day, and to me that makes the most sense. But that's for me. Remember, it has to make sense for you and what works best for you. So overall, I have that list. I spend time trying to talk to those people. I see my family and I work on those relationships, because at the end of the day, when the time does come, I'm not gonna say, oof, I wish I made a little bit more money. You know, like those things really won't matter. It's not to say they don't matter, they do matter, but it's not the main thing that matters. So maintaining relationships is super, super, super important to me. Now the fourth part is the end part. Now this is something I rarely ever do. I gotta be honest here, but the ideal nighttime routine for me would kind of be like, you know, you review the day, you see what actually happened, what you said you were gonna do and what you didn't do. You try to plan the next day and make it a little bit better and adjust and so on. So before the next day starts, you end it. And what that basically means is you write down exactly what you're going to do. And then for the last part, I spend time just praying and just reading the Bible, and that's basically it for the end. And here's some tips that I have here that I also want to give you. There's a lot of like space time during the day, whether you're driving, taking the train, going to the gym, doing a run. There's a lot of time where you're actually able to do other things at the same time. So during that time, I'm always trying to learn something, you know? So that basically means I'm reading an audiobook. For me, that is ideal. So audiobooks, I don't really do podcasts like that often. So it's like, for me, it's like usually like audiobooks, and that works best for me. So just spend time, always, 30 minutes to an hour a day, just trying to learn something new and remove some ignorance from what you already think you know, okay? So whether you're driving, you're going to the gym, instead of listening to music, just listen to a podcast that's positive and learn something, or like an audiobook that teaches you something to make you a little bit smarter. And the second thing is, okay, some things I really want to work on is I want to be better at journaling my progress. I don't really do that. Taking walks after work, I heard that actually makes a lot of sense, because once you've learned everything, you've done the work, it kind of gives you time to actually let the mind process everything you've done. And the last thing is I really want to join, for example, after work, like a team sport, you know? And I don't know what it's going to be, but like a team sport, like when I say team sport, I mean something you actually do in a group, like boxing. That's like a solo sport, but it's actually in a group of people and you hang out and so on, okay? But guys, overall, that is my morning routine. That's how I win the morning. And overall, all this stuff is on purpose. My life is not, for example, like Shazam. It's on purpose. I plan it. And I understand that every single day there are going to be parts where I mess up. There are going to be parts where I don't hit the deadline. But overall, I'm going to do a lot better than the average person because I have a plan. And that's the ideal thing. And when I first started, I started very small, because when it comes to building habits, you have to start small. If you try to do what I do today, and you're coming from, I wake up at 10 a.m. or 12 p.m., it's not going to work out for you. You're probably going to give up very quickly. When I first try to get to 5 a.m. and 3 a.m. and 2 a.m., I first started just like at 7 a.m., then 6:30, and then like 6:15, and then 6:05. Like all those little tricks, I did them, okay? And eventually I got to like 5:45. I was like, oh, I'm waking up at 5. No, it's like 5:45, okay? But you get a lot better. You start to slowly but surely just grind down to the core and get better and become better, okay, guys? That is it. I hope this video helps you. You learned something. Remember, the best routine is the one that works for you. So grab what I have here, apply it to yourself, and do it to the best of your abilities and what actually makes you happy. You should finish the day and you should feel like accomplished. That's the goal, okay? Now, it's not to say everything you do during the day you will like, because that would be ridiculous, okay? But it's to say that everything you do during the day in some sense is going to help you out long term, all right? See you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. Comment down below, I made it, so I know you made it all the way to the end of the video. Up here is another one. Over here is my Facebook and Instagram. And as always, Long-Term Team officially out. And by the way, read the books on morning routines. Don't just listen to me. Read more, get more ideas, and try to experiment more and more. Peace.